Welcome to Perspectives in Mobile, the news podcast from the Mobile Ecosystem Forum. Join us discussing the world of telecommunications, technology, and mobile innovations. From Florence, Ricardo Amati.
Customer experience in digital communications is being rapidly reshaped by three major forces: RCS messaging, AI, and rising consumer expectations. Rich Communication Services is moving messaging beyond static SMS into secure app-like conversations, now with Apple joining the RCS ecosystem via iOS 18. Meanwhile, AI is powering real-time personalization across channels, and businesses are under pressure to deliver seamless, relevant, and trusted interactions at scales. The implications are huge for brands, mobile operators, and consumers alike. Welcome to Perspectives on Mobile, the podcast from the Mobile Ecosystem Forum, in which experts and industry leaders talk about what they think, see, and expect in the world of telecommunications and innovative mobile services. Today, we are joined by Miriam Liszewski and Isabella Rahm. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Ricardo. It's great to be here.
Miriam is RCS Commercial Product Manager and Isabella Product Marketing Manager at Sinch, a global cloud communications leader and recent winner of the MEFFYS ESG Award, recognizing its commitment to sustainable development, ethical data practices, and responsible innovation. We'll discuss how leading brands are rethinking CX, customer experience, what's driving RCS adoption, how artificial intelligence is shaping real engagement, and why ESG principles are becoming essential to building trusted, future-ready digital communications. Let's start from the top. Isabella, what are the biggest forces reshaping customer experiences in 2025? How are expectations shifting across industries?
Yeah, we're really seeing customer expectations sort of outpacing traditional customer experience models. So customers, they know what they want. And in 2025, the shift is moving towards more real-time, sort of relevant and secure communications on the channels that customers are choosing. So our research shows that 58% of consumers now want to choose their communication channel when they're opting in, and 52% say that they really trust AI for updates. So, you said it, RCS, AI, and customer experience is really changing the game. So brands really need to adapt and design experiences around flexibility and context and speed to make sure that they're meeting customers on the channels that they want.
How are they doing so, Miriam? How do businesses move from just sending messages to creating interactive real-time customer journeys?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot of parts to it. So first of all, it's just making sure you have the opportunity to use and you have the tools you need. So make sure you have, like Isabella said, you have RCS. So you have messaging available on those platforms that the various people want. So at Sinch, we have a lot of customers who've historically just been sending SMS, but they can use our conversation API, which gives them opportunity to use RCS, but it also gives them other messaging channels as well, so that they can provide their customers with the opportunity to use the messaging channels they want. They can use the rich features, they can use interactive elements, they can integrate AI, and they can integrate live humans when they want to be able to have that full, comprehensive, real-time interactive journey. And then it's starting to think through it. It's looking at your existing use cases, and it's seeing where you can just add a little bit in. I think a lot of people get scared because it feels like these interactive journeys are a lot, but they don't have to be. Just a few small changes can really have a big impact, can make a big difference. Just by allowing people to tap a button, tap a suggested reply instead of typing something in. It's a really simple, quick way to start off, to kick off those interactive journeys. And then you can continue to grow on them and expand on them over time by using AI and by using other tools like that.
Maybe a question for Isabella. You were mentioning Sinch research that shows that consumers want flexibility, relevance, and security across the channels. What's the blueprint that leading brands are following today, uh, talking about customer experience again?
Yeah, so it's all about, personalization, having sort of AI powered solutions, and then adopting not only, SMS is still here, but you also want to have sort of richer messaging channels like RCS, even WhatsApp. And we kind of see that across 4 pillars for top performing brands. So having omni-channel orchestration, making sure that the channels that you have or the way you're connecting with consumers is not just multi-channel, but an omni-channel solution so that everything's truly connected. So, you know, businesses really need to think about the fact that consumers are not one size fits all, and then need to focus on building real connections. It could be that a customer starts on one channel and suddenly they're looking at your, let's say, retail, right? Um, you're looking at a product and suddenly you want to talk to someone on customer support on another channel. So what we have at Sinch, at least, is we have conversation API. All the conversation history and the contact profile and the preferences are all built in to one contact profile. So the communication doesn't change and doesn't create sort of fragmentation. The other thing is really secure and verified messaging. You really need to build trust at every touch point with customers throughout the buyer journey, or the customer journey. Even after you buy, you want to be connected with that brand. AI powered personalization, no one wants to just be talking to, let's say, a bot or someone who doesn't know you. Say, hi, Isabella, and I'll be a lot nicer to you. So really having that personalization and seamless sort of engagement. It can be powered by AI, but it still needs to have a personal effect. And at the end of the day, it's also about, speed and simplicity. You don't want to be having a hard time sort of either buying, reaching customer service or anything. So making sure that you're reducing friction at every step of the journey, whether that's, and we have all the channels. So it's email, it's messaging, it's voice, it's really every sort of touch point and channel that you're connecting with the customer on. It's important to really have those pieces in every way that you're engaging with your consumer.
And from what you're saying, all these changes need to be user friendly. I mean, nothing
100%.
like that, nothing to be afraid of.
Yes.
The rise of RCS messaging. Some of you guys at Sinch called RCS the renaissance of messaging. Am I correct? What exactly makes it such a game changer for customer engagement? Yeah, but you said most of that, but just about RCS.
Miriam's the
Yeah.
queen of RCS, so I'll let
The
her take
queen of
that one.
RCS. I guess in a renaissance, that makes sense, right? So I think what makes RCS just so exciting right now is that it really does meet the demands that customers want. So whether you call RCS the Renaissance or whether you call it SMS 2.0 or whatever you call it, I think there's lots of different catchy names and slogans for it. But it really does meet the demands that a lot of customers, a lot of consumers, and a lot of businesses want right now. It brings, the branded visual. So it brings the rich interactive features. You can have carousels, you can have images, you can have videos, you can have buttons, replies, suggested actions, all of which make it a easy to use, graphical, exciting experience, which increase the usability and the interactivity. And you've also got additional security. So you've got a verified sender. You know exactly who your message is coming from. It's not coming from some random number anymore, which we don't trust. It's coming from a named brand, and that brand is verified by Google, the carrier, by a third party. So it increases that trust level. And it's in the default messaging app. So it's not like I have to go out and download something new. So whether you're tech savvy or not tech savvy, you can get and experience RCS. A lot of people also refer to it as kind of an app-like experience. So instead of having to text in, you get more of an app-like experience in that native inbox. And I do think it is going to be game-changing. 59% of industry leaders say that RCS is going to be game-changing, according to some recent research that Sinch just did, that we recently published. And And we see that it meets those demands of customers. So we know that customers want to trust brands. We know that customers want to have those richer experiences. As Isabella said, I want that personalization. I want that secure messaging, and I want to be able to make everything simple. Being able to tap on a button is significantly simpler than having to type something in. Being able to have a URL that links me out is a better experience than clicking on some short URL in there.
Isabella, with Apple's support for RCS now official in iOS, what does that unlock for brands and for the broader market?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's mass adoption, right? It's ubiquitous reach. Like, what I think the main limitation that RCS has had is the fact that it's only been on Android. But now, with Apple starting to support it, that reach is really expanding. So RCS is now sort of cross-platform, and for brands, it means not choosing sort of Android versus iOS strategies or thinking about reach or not being able to actually have that message reach your consumer. That being said, of course, Apple or RCS support on Apple isn't everywhere right now, but it's growing, it's expanding, and it is really exciting. And at Sinch, we're seeing that for RCS, once Apple starts supporting it or once it's been turned on, we're seeing up to like 70 or 70+% in terms of reach for RCS. And the great thing is that you can have fallback. So if you can't reach on RCS, you just send that SMS as fallback. So if the objection is, well, I can't reach my customer, my answer to you is, yes, you can. You just send the old regular SMS that you were already sending.
Miriam, let's say I'm a CX leader, but I'm waiting for critical mass before making moves for RCS. What would you tell me?
Well, I would tell you to stop waiting, but I think so.
Do it.
We are at critical mass. So in many regions, because we do have Apple on board now, we do have, incredibly high penetration rates. We have penetration rates, like Isabella said earlier, over 70%. I think it's actually more like 80% in some markets now, and continues to grow. So, critical mass is here. And even in those markets where Apple isn't on board yet and where people are still, where reach is still a bit lower, you can fall back to SMS, you can fall back to MMS. So you still have the advantage of, for those customers who can get RCS, which is still a really good number in those markets, you can still reach everybody, give everybody that can get RCS that amazing experience, continue to optimize it, continue to improve it. And while reach grows, continue to work on what you can do, and it's automatic. So you send those messages, and then as reach expands, anybody that can get RCS that maybe couldn't get RCS last week will now start to get RCS messages. And so I really don't think there's any reason to wait. I think getting started and getting going is really a great opportunity to try things out. We know that the impact of RCS is such that even with a smaller percentage of users, you're going to see that growth, and you're going to see the improved revenue, the improved interactivity, the increase in clicks, kind of all those things that you're waiting for. Customers like it. And so giving them what they like now while you continue to move towards ubiquity and RCS, I think it's a no-brainer. So yeah, I say don't wait. I say start.
Right. And in terms of return on investments, where are we seeing the most creative RCS development today? Maybe Isabella for this question.
Yeah, I think for the most, I guess, creative, we're seeing that in retail, and we're seeing everything from 2 to 7 times click-through rates, and like 42% engagement was one of our customers recently. So the engagement piece and the creativity is definitely across retail. Showing products, sending promotions. But you also have, financial services, and those, like the financial services industry, they're also really excited about RCS because of the security piece. So maybe not on the creative front, but they're really focused on, delivering secure and trusted messages. So we have another major bank that was sending sort of collections or just more transactional messages, but they still saw sort of 3 times higher renegotiations and collections just by the use of RCS. So it's anything from your boring messages to the creative ones that really have a positive effect because of the value that RCS delivers. But I would say retail and financial services are probably the 2 highest ones. But we do know that technology and healthcare, they're also really excited and kind of see RCS as a game changer, over 50%.
Again, the research by Sinch, State of Consumer Communications, that found 97% of businesses plan to use AI in customer interaction in 2025. Is it just automation, or what value really adds? Of course, it adds value, but can you elaborate?
Yeah. So AI adds lots of different value. So obviously there's personalization. But I think a lot of the value that AI adds is real-time updates, and it allows for automated responses. So people aren't waiting. People want to get information immediately, and they want that information accurate, and they want that information clear. And they want that information personalized for them. And AI really allows you to do that in the form of chatbots, certainly. So, whether it's something simple like where's my delivery, or analyzing the customer data so that, you're getting the right recommendations, or you're getting directed to the best place to answer your question. Predictive communications. So, people tend to ask this question at this point in time in a journey. So there really is just so much that AI can do. I think intent detection is really big, and just predictive personalization. The other thing we see a lot of and increasing is, language aware content. So having to or I guess delivering the best content for someone. What language is the best, and how do you want to speak with someone? Um, but yeah, like you said, 90% of businesses plan to use AI in some way. I think a lot of them plan to use it in ways that are very visible to those consumers, but a lot of them also plan to use it in ways that'll just make their data smarter. So whether it's an AI chatbot responding to their consumer, or whether it's more of an automated message, making sure the right marketing message goes out to the right person, AI is behind the scenes in those scenarios as well.
But, excuse me, but automation sometimes is not sympathetic. It's not very
Correct.
kind,
Yeah.
isn't it? And after the big excitement about AI, chatbots and agents, etc., we are starting to talk about AI fatigue. I mean,
Mhm.
even I mean, I must say that sometimes it's something very useful for my work every day, but it's not really such an experience. So, how do you build, let's say, not just trust, but some kind of excitement again about AI-powered communications?
Yeah,
Not an easy question. It's good.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about trust, and then Isabella, if you
Go
want to
for
jump in as well. I think you build trust with AI the same way you build trust with virtually everything. You're honest and you're open. So be transparent. Let users know as much as possible when they're talking to AI, when they're talking to a chatbot, when AI is used, what you're doing with their data, and in the case of something like a chatbot, in the case of something like that, make sure they always have a clear escalation path. So make sure that if you're talking to something automated, you know that you can escape it. You know that you can get out, that you can go talk to a person, or you can verify that information somewhere else. I love AI, but I do spend a lot of time, making sure that that information that I'm sharing is verified and is valid. And I think we can allow our customers to do that in a way that's not an impediment. So make sure they have a chance to talk to a person if they need that person, if for some reason they don't trust that AI. But yeah, transparency and trust, and just making sure you're clear about what you're what you're doing.
Yeah.
There's
I would just add to that, like we have some capabilities that do like sentiment analysis. So, if Ricardo's getting upset as he's typing to a bot, we'll hand you over to a real person to talk to. That's gonna make sure that you're taken
Even
care
because
of.
it's very stupid to try and fight with
Yeah,
an
I know. I hear you. So like if the answer is not being answered,
you can't
right?
even tell him you're stupid.
Yeah.
fighting with a robot is not a great use of your time. No.
It's not by definition.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Right.
like there's ways or transparency and then, making sure that there really is that human component to it is really important, I think, when you're thinking about AI and AI powered conversations.
And
Right. I
the
don't
oth-
know who wants. Oh,
well,
Miriam,
the
you
other
want
thing I was
to
going to
add?
say is just on the business side as well. If you're using it to determine the right message to send to someone, check it, right? As a business, it's also your responsibility to make sure that your AI is accurate. Your AI is delivering what you want it to deliver. So there's a lot of ways you can make sure that customers are happy and are getting the great experience that they want.
Personalization is good until they start calling you a different name, which has happened to me. Like, hi Miriam, and then I'm like, yeah,
A lot of
am I
people,
crazy or is something happening here? So yeah, for
a
sure.
lot
I
of
think
people mistake us
I
for
think
each
at
other. So
some
that's
stage humans will become interchangeable for
Yeah, no, actually though.
months and ages. Right. Um. Uh. How does Sinch? I don't know. Whoever wants to answer. How does Sinch help brands connect the dots between what we were talking about? Messaging, voice, verification, and AI.
Do you want to go, Miriam?
Sure, I'll go. We've talked a little bit about things like our conversation API. So conversation API and some of our other tools do a lot of that. So when you're using something like conversation API, conversation API is a single point into Sinch that connects off to the other points. So whether you're doing messaging, whether you're, doing voice, whether you're doing email, you can use the Sinch tools to have this single profile, to have a single knowledge of your customer, and to use it. So if a customer is not available on RCS, you can then fall back to WhatsApp, or you can fall over to SMS or MMS or something else. You can use our verification tools to deliver verification in the way that makes most sense for the customer. So are you going to do a voice verification? Are you going to do an SMS verification and RCS verification? So by using Sinch's tools, we actually provide a lot of this functionality built right in without customers actually having to do a lot of work for it. We also connect off to our other products. So we connect to, our AI products. We connect to our live chat products. We connect to sort of the other tools that you need to link and tie everything together. So really, it's a one-stop shop, and you can handle all that integration without having to go to other places. It's just a sort of built together tool.
Miriam, Sinch is both partner of telcos, of enterprise, and a platform. How do you navigate this duality? This
I think it's great because it gives us an overview of the industry, right? So we are able to really understand all the ins and outs of what's happening. We work closely with mobile operators, helping them understand what they need to do to deliver great messaging services to their customers. We work with a lot of brands. We work with a lot of other partners in the industry to deliver those messages. So it really does just let us have a comprehensive view of the marketplace and of the requirements.
congratulations of the MEFFYS ESG Award.
Thank you.
Were you there in Barcelona?
I was there in Barcelona.
Miriam was there.
I was
It was
partying
fun,
on
isn't it?
behalf of both Isabella and I. So
Yeah, it was fun. How is Sinch translating ESG from principles, blah blah, into product design, data policies, consumer trust? I mean, when we talk about ESG, that's always a risk, yes, beautiful, but there is always a but, and this but many times comes from the idea that it's not productive enough to concentrate on these environmental issues. But it's not exactly that. So how would you translate this principle into something concrete, something useful for making money.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you. We appreciate the acknowledgement and the MEFFYS Award, and we really think it's such an important topic. There's a lot of potential for progress in advancing sort of energy efficiency, transitioning to greener energy sources, and fostering greater collaboration and best practices across the industry. And at Sinch, we're committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. And we're pursuing that target through various initiatives. So, integrating environmental considerations into our governance policies and procedures, updating life cycle analysis of our key products. Those are two sort of big things that we're doing. And then we've implemented a comprehensive sort of code of business ethics and conduct to effectively address social material impacts, risks, and opportunities. And then we revise our procurement policies accordingly. And we have a great team here that does all of that to make sure that we're really focusing on sustainability and the future.
About the future, how this principle goes with the possibility that telcos will move toward a more open ecosystem. So, is this something that can go hand in hand with value creation, with advanced messaging APIs? What we were talking about? Who wants to answer?
Miriam, she's been in the industry longer.
Yeah, I can answer. I do. I do think that this is all supposed to be a game changer, right? By working together and by aligning forces in terms of we all have great ideas to work together. We all have different things we can do. We can make a real impact. And these opportunities are not just helping us save the world and making it a better place to live, but there are a lot of opportunities to find value. So there are a lot of ways we can optimize and we can improve and we can work together. If you look at some of the things we're doing for our ESG initiatives, making sure that we're able to have products that work longer, making sure our products are more efficient, that not only means that we're using less energy and we're being more attentive, but it also means that we're just more efficient and we're more effective overall, which better serves our customers, which better serves our partners, and which better serves us collectively. And I think when we learn these things, we take advantage of them, we can also share these learnings with others, which is one of the things that we're hoping to do. And going back to the artificial intelligence, there's a lot of different ways to help optimize and to help improve performance. It is a bit, AI does use a lot of energy, but it also helps us answer some of the questions that we have about how to move in the direction of other improvements.
Last questions for both of you. What's the message to business leaders hesitating to invest in CX, RCS and RCS and AI? Miriam, and then Isabella.
Go for it.
Let's see if we agree. So I think the message to people who are hesitating to invest is that I will continuously say this: don't hesitate, get started. It's not hard to get started. Whether you're working with Sinch or whether you're just kind of investigating how things go, you can get started in a really simple, easy way with something like RCS and with improvements to your customer experience. Virtually everybody is sending SMS today, and you can switch over to RCS without having to move heavily into all the rich and the complex use cases. One of the biggest advantages of RCS is the branded verified sender. And you can take your existing SMS messages, convert them over to RCS with no technical changes, and you get to take advantage of that branded sender, which increases trust, which increases performance. And with RCS, you also get improved metrics. So you're going to know not just how many messages you sent, but how many messages were delivered and how many messages were read, meaning that you're just going to have a lot more knowledge without doing making a lot of changes. And what we see from our experience is once a business starts to experience just these small little wins from RCS, then the rest of it is a lot easier. So it makes a lot of sense for them to start to add in the additional features to take advantage of the interactivity, to instead of putting a URL in your message, to use a suggested action driving to web or even a web view chip. To start to get responses back. So, when I get a message from my bank about fraud, instead of having to then make a phone call, I can tap yes or no, and I can have a really simple but effective conversation with my bank, probably in chatbot form, where I just confirm if it really was me purchasing those new shoes or if it was someone else. And it just makes for a much improved conversation. But yeah, get started. Start simple. It doesn't have to be hard.
So come on, guys, it's easy. And Isabella,
Exactly.
what do you want to add?
I mean, I'm team RCS, definitely. I guess I would even bring it bigger and just, go back to what we were saying in the beginning, like be on the channels that your customer are on, right? So it's not just about RCS, it's not just about SMS. You have WhatsApp, you have all these other channels, like depending on who you're talking to, like that's what matters. Who are your customers? Where are they? And not just like who are they in terms of where they are. Demographics matter. Like there's all these different components that make for how you should be communicating with your consumers. So that's what digital customer communication is all about. Me and Miriam can spend hours talking about it, and Sinch, that's what we do best. So that's really what I want to say. Like, don't just focus on one channel. Think of them all depending on where you're sending and who you're sending to and who you want to reach. That is my key message.
Miriam Liszewski and Isabella Rahm, Commercial Product Manager, RCS, and Product Marketing Manager at Sinch. Thank you for being in the show, and thank you everybody for listening. Stay tuned. Good luck with your work.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to Perspectives in Mobile. Join us next as we explore telecoms, technology, and mobile innovations. Stay tuned, stay connected, and let's unlock the mobile potential together.